Welcome to the congregation of Yahweh. We hope you enjoy the messages that go out on the internet. Shabbat Shalom to all here in this room. We hope that you are strengthened and encouraged by what you hear. The title of my message today is called Cults. Cults. Lately I've been doing a lot of research on Scripture. I want to be known that I'm just a man. The reason that I'm able to give sermons today is because of the grace that Yahweh has given me. He has forgiven me of my sins and has given me a gift of evangelism, a gift I've been blessed with and am able to share it from here and with others wherever I go. I no longer walk in the ways of darkness, and Yahweh has blessed my life incredibly. Over the last 9 years, I've been keeping Torah. I believe the entire Bible is relevant today. I've been blessed with like-minded believers that Yahweh has put in my life. There have been many times I've called believers and that I've met over the years for guidance, how to live my life free from sin, how to interact with others, how to love myself as well as my neighbors. How to walk in the ways of Yeshua when I'm at work, at home, at the grocery store, or wherever I happen to be. Things that I've never did before, I've surrendered to His will. Before, my life was one intoxication after another. Praise Yahweh for His love and mercy. I live on a farm today. All of us who live there are Torah believers. To this day, I marvel at the fact that Yahweh has opened a door for me to live in such a blessed environment. The farm owner, who at one time had pierced himself with many sins, was set free, finally realizing that Yahweh is truth and made him first in everything. And today this man has been blessed beyond imagination. He has opened his home to people like myself and helped us learn the ways of Elohim, people who have been downtrodden for one reason or another. This farm is an example of the power of Yahweh. I will go to my grave believing that Yahweh has restored my being here. We are truly a family covered by the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach. Sadly, there are people out there who believe us that we are a cult. They malign us with pointless hype, sit on their social medias and shake their heads at us, belittle us because we don't refer to our Father and His Son as God and Jesus. Do they think they're better than us? Luke chapter 20, verses 46 and 47. Beware of the scribes who like to walk in their long robes, love greetings in the marketplaces, the best seats at the congregations, the best place at the feast, who devour widows' houses, and for a show make long prayers. They shall receive greater judgment. My question to you, do you think that those that practice Hebrew roots are a cult? Let me show you what I personally believe a cult is. You decide. In an article written by List Verse staff on September 15th, 2007, the top 10 cults. Cult roughly refers to a cohesive social group devoted to beliefs or practices that the surrounding culture considers outside the mainstream, with a notably positive or negative popular perception. Many cults are destructive and suicidal, though others, whilst being controversial, do not commit such extreme acts. This is a list of the top 10 cults in no particular order. The Church of Bible Understanding. The Church of Bible Understanding, formerly known as the Forever Family, is a destructive cult started in 1971 by former atheist and vacuum repairman Stuart Trail in Allentown, Pennsylvania. The cult targeted teens as young as 13 by drawing on their weaknesses. Throughout the 1970s, the cult expanded to many other parts of the United States. Trail, born in Quebec in 1936, is the son of a Presbyterian minister who teaches that he is the reincarnation of Elijah and that he knows the date of the return of Christ. Members of the cult live in a commune and donate 90% of their income to the cult. Trail amassed a fortune and owns 4 planes and a $500,000 mansion. According to former members, Trail controls every aspect of members' lives through harsh criticism. Trail has one of the most effective means of shutting down critical thinking I've ever seen. Of the hundreds of people I've treated, COBU is definitely in the top 5 in the terms of harm and psychological damage, shame, and public humiliation. Ron Burks, a staff member at the Residential Treatment Center for former cult members, says this: "The cult also runs a mission in Haiti where some former members claim Haitian children are indoctrinated in exchange for food and clothing. According to an article originally appearing in the Manassas Journal-Messenger, COBU receives government funds for its Haiti mission as part of President Bush's faith-based initiative." The Manson family. The Manson family was a cult started by Charles Manson. Manson was born to Kathleen Maddox, an unwed 16-year-old girl, in 1934. It is said his mother, an alcoholic, sold him to buy beer. When he was returned to her, she had sent him to a boarding school. After a number of years living with his religious aunt and uncle, he returned to his mother, who rejected him. After a number of robberies, he was put in jail for the first time. 1 month before his parole hearing in 1952, he raped a boy in jail by holding a razor to his throat. 2 years later, he was paroled. Manson began to pimp a young woman he met and eventually took her, a second woman, to New Mexico to work for him as prostitutes. He was caught and tried under the Mann Act, a 1910 act that prohibited white slavery and trafficking for immoral means. In 1967, he was released, having spent more than half of his life in institutions. Upon release, he requested permission to move to San Francisco, which was granted. When he arrived, he became a part of the hippie movement centered in the Haight-Ashbury region, and he set himself up as a guru. He moved in with 23-year-old student Mary Bruner and convinced her to allow other women to join him. Eventually, 18 other women were living with them. This was the beginning of the family. By 1968, Manson had established a home for the family at a ranch owned by George Spahn. Manson convinced one of the family members, Lynette Fromm, to sleep with Spahn in order to get free rent. Manson began teaching followers that social uprisings were coming, using the assassination of Martin Luther King as evidence. He also told them that social turmoil that he had been predicting had also been predicted by the Beatles. The White Album songs, he declared, told it all, although in code. In fact, he maintained the album was directed at the family itself. An elect group was being instructed to preserve the worthy form of the impending disaster. In 1969, on August 8th, Manson told family members at the Spahn Ranch, "Now is the time for helter skelter." That evening, the family, under the direction of Manson, would commit the famous murder of Sharon Tate, leading to other murders over a 2-day period. Aum Shinryoku is a Japanese religious group founded by Shoko Asahara. A group gained international notoriety in 1995 when they carried out a sarin gas attack in the Tokyo subways. In 2000, the organization changed its name to Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew and Arabic alphabet, changing its logo as well. In 1995, the group had 9,000 members in Japan and as many as 40,000 worldwide. As of 2004, Ayum Shiroko Aleph membership was estimated from 1,500 to 2,000 people. The movement was founded by Shoko Asahara in his one-bedroom apartment in Tokyo's Shibuya ward in 1984. Starting off as a yoga and meditation class known as Aum no Kai, and steadily grew in the following years. It gained the official status as a religious organization in 1989. It attracted such a considerable number of young graduates from Japan's elite universities that it was dubbed a religion for the elite. Aum's PR activities included publishing. In Japan, where comics and animated cartoons enjoy unprecedented popularity among all ages, Aum attempted to tie religious idea to the popular anime and manga themes, space missions, extremely powerful weapons, world conspiracies. Ayum Shinryoku had started as a quiet group of people interested in yogic meditation, but later transformed into a very different organization. According to Asahara, he needed to demonstrate charisma and attract the modern audience. Following his decision, Aum underwent a radical image change. The rebranded Aum looked less like an elite meditation boutique and more like an organization attracted to a broader, larger population group. Public interviews, bold controversial statements, and vicious opposition to critique were incorporated into the religion's PR style. The cult started attracting controversy in the late 1980s with accusations of deception of recruits and of holding cult members against their will and forcing members to donate money. A murder of a cult member who tried to leave is known to have taken place in February of 1989. At the end of 1993, the cult started secretly manufacturing the nerve agent sarin and later VX gas. They also attempted to manufacture 1,000 automatic rifles, but only managed to make one. Aum tested their sarin on sheep in a remote ranch in Western Australia, killing 29 sheep. Both sarin and VX were then used in several assassinations and attempts over 1994 and 95. Most notably, on the night of June 27, 1994, the cult carried out the world's first use of chemical weapons in a terrorist attacks against civilians when they released sarin in the central Japanese city of Matsumoto. This Matsumoto incident killed 7 and harmed 200 more. However, police investigations focused only on an innocent local resident and failed to implicate the cult. 11 cult members have been sentenced to death, although none of the sentences have been carried out, nor the time and date for the executions to take effect has been publicly established. The Restoration of the Ten Commandments. The full name of this cult is the Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments. The Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments of God was a breakaway group from the Roman Catholic Church that formed in Uganda in the late 1980s. As the name implies, the group strongly emphasized the Ten Commandments. This emphasis meant that they even discouraged talking out of fear of breaking the commandment and about giving false witness. They also believed that their strict adherence to the Ten Commandments would be advantageous for the apocalypse. This proved significant as the group had strong emphasis on the apocalypse highlighted by their booklet, A Timely Message from Heaven, the End of Present Time. New members were required to study and be trained in it, reading it as many as 6 times. They also taught that Mother Mary had a special role in the apocalypse and communicated to the leadership. They saw themselves like Noah's Ark, a ship of righteousness in the sea of depravity. Hello. The group tended to be secretive, and as mentioned above, was literally silent. Therefore, it was relatively known to the outside world until 2000. Although in 1998, the school they ran was sanctioned by the government due to unsanitary conditions and violation of child labor statutes. In March of 2000, around 300 followers died in a fire in what was considered a cult suicide. Investigations conducted after the fire discovered mass graves, raising the death toll to over 1,000. This may mean it was larger than the Jonestown murder-suicide in 1978. Some speculate the death toll was around 800. There are also allegations that the event was more of a mass murder by the leadership. And I could go on and on with this stuff. There are 7 more groups just like these that do this and have done this and have ruined people's lives. And any one of us could have been caught up in this at any point of our life, depending on our circumstances. If we would have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, this could very well have happened to us. Praise Yahweh that it didn't, because this is a messed up situation. What does our Father think about this? Matthew chapter 7, verses 15 through 23. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. By their fruits you shall know them. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? So every good tree yields good fruit, while a rotten tree yields bad fruit. A good tree is unable to bear bad fruit, and a rotten tree is unable to yield good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. So then by their fruit you shall know them. Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, shall enter into the reign of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in heaven. Many shall say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and done many mighty things in your name? I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. Ezekiel chapter 22, verses 23 through 28. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, say to her, you are a land that is not cleansed or rained upon in the day of displeasure. There is a conspiracy of her prophets in her midst, like a roaring lion tearing her prey. They have devoured life. They have taken wealth and precious matters. They have made their widows in their midst. Her priests have done violence to my teaching, and they profane my set-apart matters. They have not distinguished between set-apart and the profane, nor have they made known the difference between the unclean and the clean. They have hidden their eyes from my Sabbaths. I am profaned in their midst. Her leaders in their midst are like wolves, tearing apart the prey to shed blood, destroy lives, and get greedy gain. And their people have coated them with whitewash, seeing a false vision, and divining a lie for them. Thus said Yahweh, when Yahweh has not spoken. 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 5. But know this, in the last days hard times shall come, for men shall be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, blasphemous, disobedient to parents, thankless, wrongdoers, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, self-control, fierce, haters of good, betrayers, reckless, puffed up, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of Elohim, having a form of reverence but denying its power. Have nothing to do with them. There is good news, trust me. In the 9 short years that I've studied Torah, I've not been subjected to any of this, and neither has anybody that I know. Hallelujah. This stuff here, folks, these are cults. Believe it or not, this ain't the way to go. Excuse me while I try to find my place again. This is what I get for trying to read my own handwriting. Any of this. 6. Okay, let me try this again. Thank you. In the 9 short years I've studied Torah, I have not been subjected to any of this. I've been loved, counseled, prayed for, helped when I didn't deserve it, given to. I have believers I can call or visit that can help me when I have a problem, and vice versa. Problems that I don't know how to handle. Proverbs 12:1, whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates correction is stupid. Proverbs 15:22, without counsel plans go wrong, but by great counselors they are established. Proverbs 27:17, iron is sharpened by iron, and a man's sharpens the face of his friend, which goes back to what you were talking about, Bill, about bias and people. I was kicking and screaming, from going from Christianity to Torah. It wasn't easy. But it finally dawned on me that was the right thing to do, and it takes time and work and prayer and praying for one another.
A lot of farming.
And a lot of farming, yeah.
A lot of farming.
Milking cows, yes. Nothing like sitting down and, Anyway, Psalm 1. Blessed is the man who shall not walk in the counsel of the wrong, and shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and he meditates in his Torah day and night. For he shall be as a tree planted by the rivers of water, that yields fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither. And whatever he does prospers. The wrong are not so, but like the chaff which the wind blows away. Therefore the wrong shall not rise in judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For Yahweh knows the way of the righteous, but the ways of the wrong come to naught. We're free in Messiah. We're not bound by anything. There is no limit to what. That's right. There is no limit to what Father can do for us. John 8:31 through 35. So Yeshua said to those in the Yehudim who believed in him, if you stay in my word, you are truly my taught ones, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him and said, we are the seed of Abraham and have been servants to no one at any time. How do you say you shall become free? Yeshua answered and said, truly, truly, I say to you, everyone doing sin is a servant of sin. And a servant does not stay in the house forever. A son stays forever. If then the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. I'm very grateful that the Father has blessed my life to the extent that he has. I'm glad that in my way of doing things that I'm able to share my life with those who really need help. Anybody can get caught up in this storm and be lost. And for all of us, share your gifts with those around you. Talk to people. Who cares if they talk bad about you? Know that Father has your back, because that's what he does. And that's why he does it. And everybody have a great week day by day, and Yahweh bless y'all, and thanks for letting me stand up here.